Direct Connection is made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities and is made possible by the generous support of our members. Thank you. Live from Maryland Public Television, this is Direct Connection with Jeff Salkin.
Hi, everybody, and thanks for tuning in for Direct Connection. The cards have been dealt, the wheels have spun, and the big winner continues to be the state treasury with another record month of casino revenue. Tonight, we get answers to your questions about the state lottery and Maryland's casino industry. Joining us now is Gordon Medenica, director of the Maryland State Lottery and Gaming Control Agency. Gordon, thank you for stopping by.
Oh, thank you. It's a great pleasure to come back again and talk about our wonderful business.
Well, there's a lot to talk about, and the business got more wonderful recently on the casino side.
Absolutely.
The milestone was that the state's taking in more money from the casino business than the lottery for the first time.
Yep. For years, the lottery has been the driver of the money that we raise for good causes. But finally, and especially because of the opening of MGM National Harbor, the casino side of the business is now bigger than the lottery side. And combined, it contributes $1.1 billion to the state of Maryland. So it's a very substantial piece of money.
The opening of National Harbor changed things a bit. It was the last of the licensed 6 casinos.
Absolutely. You remember originally when the referendum passed and casinos were introduced, there were only going to be 5. And then in 2012, additional legislation came along that first of all allowed table games at the casinos, and then the 6th casino with MGM National Harbor. And of course, they only opened up in December, so our fiscal year numbers that we've reported are still only 6 months for MGM. So next year will be, we can already say, another record year just because we'll have a full 12 months of performance from MGM.
So if you annualize what's happening now, what does it look like when you have a full 12 months of everybody being open?
Well, we would think that it'd probably add another $200 million or so to the top line number. Now, at the same time, of course, with all of MGM's success, it's a very competitive market among casinos, and certainly Horseshoe Baltimore and Maryland Live have seen their numbers actually decline somewhere in the range of 15 to 20%. But net, the state is up something like 20-25% year over year, and we expect at least one more year of that.
Biggest casinos are National Harbor and Arundel Mills. Neck and neck?
Not quite neck and neck, but very close. I mean, basically, we have 3 big ones and 3 small ones. Horseshoe is a bit smaller than MGM and Live, and then of course Rocky Gap, Ocean Downs, and Perryville, Hollywood are smaller, but also have found great success in their markets too.
All right, we'll come back to the casino industry, but let's talk about the lottery, the long-standing state gambling enterprise. There's some changes coming to Mega Millions, which I didn't know about.
Indeed. Just at the end of the month, Mega Millions, which has been suffering somewhat in the shadow of Powerball. I mean, Powerball has become such a huge game. If you remember about a year and a half ago, the $1.6 billion jackpot that got the entire world, not just the country, excited. And Mega Millions is making changes to the game to be more like Powerball. So the price of the ticket will go to $2. The odds change a little bit. The starting jackpot will go up from $15 million to $40 million. Again, like Powerball.
Because really, who wants to win a measly $15 million?
Exactly. It's such a source of frustration to the lottery industry that people don't find those kinds of amounts of money worth playing for. But there's this whole phenomena of when the jackpots get to really big numbers that it just brings in a lot of new players. And in fact, probably more than any other game, Powerball and Mega Millions bring in the infrequent players. So when those jackpots start to rise, that's when you'll see the people who only play a few times a year. Well, you just can't ignore it. It's just too big.
So do the changes to Mega Millions make it more likely that you're going to have a series of weeks with no winner? So the odds get worse, but the payout increases?
Well, the hope is that you will see much larger jackpots. That is the
And the way you get that is that nobody wins for a period of weeks.
Well,
right?
actually, some of the odds get better. For example, the odds of winning $1 million. People forget that the second prize for these games is $1 million. Those get better with the new matrix. So it's a shift in how the prize structure is allocated, and obviously with the emphasis on growing the top jackpot prizes, but also some of the lower level prizes as well.
Let me remind our viewers, if you have a question about the state's lottery or the state casino business, you can give us a call. We'll have the number up on the screen. You can also tweet your questions. Our Twitter address is @MPT News. So sticking to the lottery for a second, what's the big revenue generator there?
Well, you know, interestingly, everyone knows about Powerball and Mega Million, but our biggest games are our daily numbers games, Pick 3 and Pick 4, and they represent roughly 25% of the portfolio. And then we have a monitor game, Keno, everyone knows about Keno, but we have a second monitor game called Racetracks, which is a virtual horse racing game. And uniquely in the domestic lottery industry, Maryland's second monitor game, Racetracks, is by far the most successful. It does about 60% of the volume of Keno. And the two monitor games together also represent about 25% of the revenue. So for all the visibility of a Powerball and a Mega Millions, they are relatively small games in the portfolio because, again, they tend to be very volatile with the jackpots.
Let's take a call from Baltimore County. This is Joe. Joe, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I was wondering, if I'm at the casino, I can win like $1,200, and I don't pay no taxes. But I'm playing horse races, I win $600, I got to pay tax. Over $600, I got to pay taxes.
Joe, thank you for the call. You may want to check with your tax advisor on that.
It's the truth.
I think the rules are the same.
In terms of taxation.
Yeah.
But you can keep your losing tickets because they
and you should.
could be deductible, possibly
Absolutely.
to the extent of
All
winnings.
all your losses can be deducted against any wins you may have.
Within the universe of the state lottery games, what games give the players the best odds?
Actually, the best odds come in our scratch-off games. And
Really?
and there, the payout percentages of scratch-off games varies with the price point. So the more expensive games have the best payouts. And in fact, by far the most successful game that we've ever had was the $30 ticket, which is a little outrageous when you think about it, but it has been our top seller in terms of dollar sales since it was launched back in February. So, and it has a payout of something in the 79% range. So those are the best payout games. But of course, you know, it's more like gambling at a casino. It takes more than a couple of bucks, like Mega Millions or a Powerball.
Let's go back to the phones. Arthur is in Allegheny County. Arthur, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I was wondering if the computers that control the Keno and Racetrack video games also
You want to know if they've been hacked by the
payout.
Russians? No. I'm sorry, again, the question, sir?
I was wondering if the computers that control the presentation of the Keno and Racetrack games also determine the winning numbers, or is there a break between those two occurrences?
That's a very good question. Thank you very much for the phone call. That and broadly security for those systems.
Keno and Racetracks both work off computer-generated random number generator programs that are constantly screened, protected. In fact, the entire lottery system doesn't operate over the internet. It's a closed communication loop. Everything is highly secure. Interestingly, though, people, I think, tend to trust the old-fashioned, what I call ping pong balls in the plastic drum, because they can see it happening. And there's been some mistrust of computer random number generators. We've never had an incident in Maryland of any kind of fraud, but it certainly happened elsewhere in the country. But the level of security and integrity in the lottery business is just amazing, and there's a whole lot of effort that goes into the background to maintain that level of security.
How do these slot machines in casinos, which are electronic now, it used to be actual gears and such, are those random number generators? Because the house has the ability to change the odds. How does it work?
In a proper slot machine, the random number generator is actually housed in the cabinet of the device on the floor. However, it is electronically linked not just to the casino's own system, but we have a separate system as well. So we can replicate every transaction, every pull, every button push on a slot machine to go back and verify anything that's happened. So if anyone ever says, you know, the machine didn't pay me or whatever, we can go back and actually duplicate the entire series of transactions and everything that happened. And again, in duplicate with both the casino system and our central system that monitors the casinos.
Have we had any, and in addition to running the lottery, you regulate the casinos.
Yep.
Any regulatory issues in terms of either security or other perhaps oversights by the operators?
Certainly not in terms of, I would say, computer level fraud, but we've had, there are security issues at any big entertainment venue that has literally tens of thousands of people coming through. It's no different than a ball game or a concert or anything else like that. So the security issues tend to be what you would expect, maybe some public intoxication and issues like that. But obviously the casinos have, very extensive security people, both uniformed and ununiformed, monitoring. We have compliance people on the casino floors 24/7. We have auditors at all the casinos all the time. And the casino business is one of the most heavily watched and regulated, as you can imagine.
So nobody's tried to pull a fast one yet?
Not that we have, knock on wood, or I should do like that.
Let's take another call. Ryan in Washington, D.C. Ryan, thanks for the call. Go ahead.
Hey, I was wondering how confident you are that casino tax revenue is outweighing the cost of social services for crime and gambling addiction.
Thank you very much for the phone call, and that was a big subject of debate before legalization.
I think that's
Maryland.
I really appreciate the question. Obviously, we take our responsibilities toward responsible gaming very seriously. And we're very proud of the fact that Maryland has the highest level of funding for responsible gaming of, I think, just about any jurisdictions. There's a special assessment that is done for each casino. Last year it was almost $6 million. It'll be even more next year when a full year of MGM. And that money goes through the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. And for the first time ever now, we're offering free counseling to those individuals who need it. We also have a voluntary exclusion program. People can designate themselves to be excluded from the casinos. And that is a program, again, that all the casinos subscribe to. And we've been very successful. But the issue of responsible gaming is a real one. It tends to affect about 1% of the population, and it is something that we're very aware and very conscious of. What I would call the sort of the old-fashioned traditional this notion of crime and prostitution and things like that around casinos, that really is a relic of the past, and that I think comes from people maybe watching too much Boardwalk Empire. And what you really see around casinos is a lot of economic development. And certainly when I also was doing the same thing in New York, we looked at some of the police statistics in the surrounding community, and actually crime levels went down when the casino came in, because now, first of all, people had jobs. And again, it's a successful entertainment venue. You have a lot of patrons coming through. It actually improved the economy of the local area, and of course, with the casino able to afford security and off-duty police and that sort of thing, it actually was very helpful.
To pick up on the 1% number, that was from a study in the last couple of years that found it was a little higher than 1. But in that range of people who just have a problem. They can't resist the urge. They think they're going to win, and they can't stop. So the resource you have is 1-800-GAMBLER?
Absolutely.
What does that do for somebody?
Well, it gets them in the right direction for help. Depending on, the first issue is to call and to understand what options are available to you. The counselors who will take the call will steer you in the proper direction. Maybe it's the voluntary exclusion program. Maybe it's counseling. Again, I'm not a psychiatrist, but we've worked with our friends at the Maryland Alliance for Responsible Gaming, and there are issues of what are in the jargon of the field called comorbidity, where people with addiction sometimes have other addictions, whether it's alcohol or drugs or something like that. So the counselors who treat these people sometimes need to recognize what is the core issue that needs to be dealt with in terms of helping that individual get the proper help that he needs.
Let's go back to the phones. Washington County, this is Michael. Michael, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Yes, hi, how are you?
Great. What's your question, sir?
Excellent. Okay, the question is, over the years, our governors or what have you said that, when it comes to lottery and casinos, the revenue was supposed to go towards helping our school funding and helping our roads for fixing the roads, the highways and all. And I want to know why every time a road, the highways need repairs, our government says we're broke. Where is all the money going? Is it going into our corrupt politicians like I would have to say Maxine Waters, who owns four...
Michael, I think we're drifting off here, but I appreciate the question, and I don't think we have the right guy in the chair to answer it. Because the law, just to set it up a little bit, did designate that a lot of the money was going to go to an education trust fund, but money's fungible, as they say, and that just means that the state could appropriate that much less from the general fund. So it really wasn't ironclad.
Well, and it's a question we get often, and you're absolutely right. The money does go to the causes as designated. Again, on the gaming side, the primary beneficiary is the Education Trust Fund. On the lottery side, the primary beneficiary, if you can call it a beneficiary, is the General Fund of Maryland. So even though all the money goes for that cause, it's all the other money that funds those causes that are variable with tax rates and things like that.
Yeah,
we are, I think, the fourth largest revenue source for the state. So we make the money. The decisions as to how the money is spent, obviously, is a policy decision.
So the state becomes highly dependent on this stream of revenue continuing. This stream has never been bigger. With the addition of MGM at National Harbor, and I'm guessing that a lot of the cars in the parking lot there have license plates from D.C. or Virginia.
Absolutely.
There are no casinos in D.C. or Virginia. If that were to change, it would impact your revenues.
Absolutely. In fact, I was making a presentation to the Legislative Joint Committee on Gaming Oversight last week, and I talked about the development of gaming in the Northeast. And if you look at a series of slides and you see how casinos have developed all over.
It used to be Atlantic City was a big deal
just Atlantic City.
In the 70s or whatever that was.
And then Atlantic City was supposed to be the Las Vegas of the East. And Atlantic City did really well for a long time until Pennsylvania, New York, Delaware, West Virginia, all the states started filling it. And all of a sudden, Atlantic City actually collapsed to some extent. 5 out of the 12 casinos, as you know, went out of business. But once they sort of got to the level that they could support, the 7 that are remaining are doing fine. But what's most interesting about that map is seeing Maryland right there on the southern border of all that saturation. And below us is
so you get to
empty
Florida,
territory.
Nothing? All the way down to Florida?
Well, no, I'm saying in the immediate area for people who would be coming to a casino.
Right.
And I think the window of opportunity in Virginia is at least 5 or 10 years. There's been some discussion of a tribe that may get federal recognition that might decide to do a casino. There's been some discussion about developers pushing for getting the laws changed to allow it. I think we have very many years of being able to attract Virginians. And of course, MGM National Harbor is right there on the Potomac, right next to the bridge to Virginia. So Maryland Live was actually getting people from Virginia before, and to some extent, I think their losses have been going to MGM.
Sure.
But I think, whether it's lucky or smart, I think we have a great geographic advantage that will last for a long time.
Call from Baltimore City. This is Gene. Gene, thanks for the call. Go ahead.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
I was wondering if maybe the Maryland State Lottery 3-digit number, maybe they could have a promotion where they increase it maybe to $550 or $600 for the $1 payout. I've noticed that they had the doubler for the 3-digit box. So I was wondering if they could do some kind of promotion of maybe adding $550 or $600 for the 3-digit number.
Well, you gave that idea to the right guy. Gene, thanks for the phone call.
We do a lot of promotions on Pick 3 and Pick 4, and some of them involve raising the prize payouts. What's attractive about Pick 3 especially, of course, is that all the prizes for Pick 3 can be cashed at retail and don't involve any kind of having to report. So we like to stay in that ballpark with prizes for Pick 3. But yeah, we have promotions ongoing all the time.
What's the discussion I saw recently about a sports book? So if anybody's ever been to Las Vegas, and I was telling you before the program, there are these rooms with monitors all over the wall. It's every, I don't know, horse race, every ball game from everywhere on the planet. And you can bet it in ways that I don't begin to understand. But there's a reason that Vegas can have that and nobody else at this point.
And in fact, it's a huge topic of conversation right now, primarily because the Supreme Court has decided to take up an appeal from New Jersey about legalizing sports betting, real sports betting. And right now there's a law called PASPA. It was from 1992 that basically says the only legal sports betting in this country is in Las Vegas and a few other small states, Delaware, Montana, things like that. And they would like to make it legal all over the country. Now, the lottery business nationwide is about an $80 billion business. The estimates of the illegal sports betting business are about $150 billion, so almost double the size of the lottery business. And of course, that's all untaxed and unregulated, except for Nevada. And so you see a lot of state legislatures now paying attention to sports betting because depending on how the Supreme Court rules, it may well open these the floodgates and allow internet companies or the bricks and mortar casinos or any other player, even lotteries, for example, in Europe, run the sports bets there.
If I remember the referendum that legalized the casinos here, any further expansion of gambling takes another referendum, I think.
That's in the Constitution. Yeah, any whether it's sports betting or anything else.
Right.
There's some other things, for example, esports, which is becoming a gambling game, and it's basically people playing video games competitively against each other. They fill up arenas with 15,000, 20,000 people, and they're now trying to figure out how people can bet on it. It's like betting on a sports event, except that instead of a ball and stick kind of sport, it's guys playing, War of Worlds or whatever they play on the video games.
People bet on just about anything. Caller in Harford County, this is Joe. Joe, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
Years ago, they used to offer a subscription method of playing the game, and I have fallen into one of those infrequent players. Do they still offer the subscription? And if so, how can I get it? And I mean, it was really great. You write a check 2 or 3 times a year, and they would keep track of your winnings and mail you a check.
We'll get you ever get one of those checks in the mail?
Yes, I did.
Very good. We'll get you an answer on the air. Thanks, Joe.
Sure. You can go to mdlottery.com, and we have a current subscription program, and you can sign up for Mega Million subscriptions and I believe multi-match subscriptions as well. So just a couple of games, but yes, subscriptions are available.
What's the advertising budget like these days, and what's the message? What's the advertising strategy for the state lottery? You don't have to quote the number, but it used to be you got to play to win was the memorable one.
And well, in terms of slogans, it's still a pretty good one. But in terms of what we're focused on, it's primarily instant games, our scratch-off tickets. And that is because for all the success we've had on the daily numbers games and the monitor games, in terms of benchmarking us against other successful lotteries, instant games is where we think there's a lot of growth potential. So you've seen most of our advertising emphasis on instant tickets. And there we have a new campaign where it's not so much a tagline, but it's a piece of music about this magic moment. I'm sure you remember the song. And so we're starting to weave that song into a series of advertisements to see if it begins to resonate with our players and if they begin to think of, this magic moment as being that time when you're scratching and all of a sudden you realize you've won something.
So other states per capita are selling more scratch-offs? Some are, some aren't.
If you look at the percentage of sales in their portfolio, typically in the country, 50 to 60% comes from scratch-offs.
Wow.
In Maryland, it's only 35%. Now, we over-index on the daily numbers games and the monitor games, but under-index on scratch-offs. So that's where we think we can continue to grow for some amount of time, and that's why the emphasis is going there in terms of marketing and advertising.
Time for one more phone call all the way up to Cecil County. This is Mike. Mike, thank you for the call. Go ahead. Mike, are you there?
Yes.
What's your question, sir?
I was wondering about he said they're going to cancel or make the mega $2 instead of $1. Are they going to have replace it with another ticket that's only going to cost $1?
That's a great question. Thank you very much. Is there a similar game with a $1 price?
Well, certainly the multi-match game.
What's the Cash for Life thing?
Cash for Life is also $2. Cash for Life is the top prize is $1,000 a day for life, and it is for life. It's not capped. In fact, even if someone passes away, their estate gets it for at least 20 years. But certainly, you stay alive, you keep winning, you keep getting paid.
The strong incentive to stay
Absolutely.
alive.
But of course, the daily numbers games. There's lots of games that are still $1, and including some scratch-off games too. So.
All right. Any tips for your players before we go?
Well, you have to be in it to win it. That's another old line from the lottery.
The other more responsible line is bet with your head, not over it, or something like that.
Absolutely. Yep. Remember, it's just a game. Have fun.
Gordon Benenica, director of the State Lottery and the Gaming Control Agency. Thanks for the visit.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Thank you for joining us for Direct Connection. Remember to follow us on Twitter at MPT News and check our main website, mpt.org, for information on all of our upcoming programs. Now, for all of us at MPT, I'm Jeff Salkin. Thanks for watching and have a good night.
This program was made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities.